Welcome to this month's episode of the World of Roofing podcast, hosted by John Kenny of Cotney Consulting and Andrew Rowley of roofmapping.com, where we will introduce you to a new roofing industry artisan from around the world.
All right, well, welcome back, everyone. We have another brand new episode of World in Roofing. And once again, I am joined by my friend and co-host, Andrew. Andrew, how's everything going over in the UK today?
It's very, very good. Got a bit of sunshine today. In my region, we've had rain for the last couple of days, so a lot of the roofing work's been put on hold. But yeah, we're making some progress today, so it's nice to have a little bit of sun before the autumn kicks in proper.
That's it. Well, we all know in the roofing industry, you got to have rain with the sunshine. If you get too much sunshine, the work's a little bit slower. So the good mix is always good to have. So once again, we're here to bring you our guest. This is a little bit different. Another part of the world we haven't had yet in the manufacturing side of the industry. So Roy Naggiar, I'm welcoming you here to our podcast. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. Thank you. I'm very well.
So Roy, take a moment here to tell us a little bit about where you're at, who you are, and your company, and we'll start with that.
Okay. My name is Roy Naggiar. I used to be an architect. I studied my architectural. I had my degree from the American University in Beirut, and I worked as an architect for 10 years. Five of these 10 years, I was in Belgium, in Brussels. I did several interesting projects, and one very nice project on the Côte d'Azur in South France. And after 10 years of working as an architect, I was quite successful. I have several projects published in magazines and books. Then my father contacted me and said, Roy, when are you going to fly back to Lebanon? I used to spend my summer holidays in Lebanon with my parents, but at one time he told me, okay, enough. The war is over in Lebanon since 10 years now. So when are you going to come back and join the company? It's a legacy for you and your brothers. So I came back and I started a department of architectural metals within our family business. Our family business is highly specialized in metals. So from stainless steel to copper to zinc to all metals, mainly except steel. Now, my grandfather, etc., used to be in the steel business, but progressively they went out and they were specialized in non-ferrous metals.
So before you started the architectural metal division of your company, was it mainly you would send out coils and bulk materials? Is that what your specialty was, selling that, or?
Not mine, my brother, my father, coils. And we even had a small service center where we transformed this material. For example, we used to import coils, sheets, but also tubes, bars, flat bars, angles in stainless steel, copper tubes for air conditioning, for sanitary plumbing, etc. So, but it was 100% metals. And starting in the 80s, my brother, by the way, he had his engineering diploma from Loughborough in England. So he started developing the service center. The service center was created in the 1930, but it was merely a shear, a bending machine, etc. So my brother started developing and introducing new machines like laser cutting, like stamping, punching machines, etc. And now we have 3 service centers in 3 locations, and we have very modern, updated equipment. And thanks to this, we offer the service so a client doesn't have to buy the material and invest in a machine to work this material. so we can sell him the material and offer him the service of transforming the material.
Nice. Tell us a little bit about your family business. Dates well back in the 1800s, correct?
Yes, 1860 exactly. Next year it will be our 165th anniversary.
Wow, that's amazing.
So, yeah, it was founded by the father of my grandfather in Aleppo, because we are of Armenian origin, both from my father's side and from my mother's side. We are of Armenian origin. So my ancestor left Armenia maybe 200 years ago, a bit less, and they established their business in Aleppo in Syria. Aleppo was on the Silk Road, you know the Silk Road, joining China to the European markets. So Aleppo was very well located. And later in just after the First World War, in the early 20s, Beirut port was gained development, etc. So my grandfather decided to open a branch in Beirut, where it was just next to the seaport, and it was a very good move because this is where it picked up. All the country, Lebanon was a small country, so it picked up. It became a very industrial and big economical hub. Whereas, unfortunately, Syria went down, and look what we have now in Syria. It was a good move from my grandfather.
Yeah, and there's not many businesses around the world that can date back into the 1860s. That's absolutely amazing.
Yes,
that's a feat that very few companies accomplish, and to keep it as a private owned family business, that's even probably way more rare than a company that can date its origins back that far. I know you told me we were talking earlier, and you had told me a really neat story about your I think it was your grandfather going to Italy and your name. Why don't you share that one with us? That was a very good story.
Yeah, lots of people ask us, how do you pronounce your name? I said Naggiar. But why it's written this way? Well, Naggiar is a very common family name in Lebanon. In English, it's carpenter. Naggiar is the name of the, how do you call it? Not the job. I don't know the word in English.
Profession, career.
Sorry.
Is it the profession?
Exactly, the profession. So Naggiar is a carpenter in English. So the father of my grandfather used to send telegrams to Italy to visit his suppliers. At that time, it was only steel, to book an hotel and inform them that I'm going to visit you, etc. Upon arriving, so they used to tell him, "Hello, Mr. Naggiar, how are you?" No, I'm not Naggiar, I'm Naggiar. So the Italian guy suggested, I suggest to you, why don't you write it this way so it can be pronounced correctly? And he said, yeah, it's a good idea. And this way I can distinguish myself from the other Naggiar. And we kept it this way. But on the passport, it's Naggiar.
Okay.
It's only the company's name.
The other amazing, which I think is really, I love that part, is that your name means carpenter as a profession, and you're doing now standing seam architectural roofing. And honestly, a lot of roofing and carpentry, when it comes to doing standing seam, having both the skills of a roofer and the skills of a carpenter make the best tradesmen and journeymen to go ahead and do that type of standing seam. So just that's amazing. That's always say coincidental how funny things are when they work out that way. So behind you there, you have the picture. Is there anything special about the background you have today?
Yeah, it's a nice project done a couple of years ago in the Lebanese mountains. It's a ski resort called Fakra, and I love the architecture, and it's covered with anthracene roof. And by the way, this project was the subject of a webinar organized by VM Zinc UK a couple of months ago, where they invited the architect of this project, Mr. Karim Nadir, and a British architect, I forgot his name, maybe, yeah, I forgot his name. And it was a very nice discussion. It was hosted by Jonathan Lowy of VM, I don't know if you know him, Jonathan, of VM Zinc UK, with these two architects, the British one and the Lebanese one.
Wow. And you say you're going to send me the details so we can put that on roofmapping.com?
I will.
So I noticed the last time I was on roofmapping.com, quite a few of your projects were on there. I know one thing, I don't believe you had mentioned the actual name of your company and the type of roof system it is. So tell us about how many other countries where do you sell at? What's the furthest away country or most unique project or that you feel?
Okay. Yeah, mainly our market and my base is in Lebanon. But for 10 years, between 2008 and 2018, I had a branch in Qatar, in Doha. And Qatar was booming, and I've done several very interesting projects over there. Then in 2017, they had this crisis between Qatar and Saudi Arabia and Dubai, and they made some kind of blockade. So they closed the borders between Qatar and Saudi Arabia, and things were not going very, very well anymore. And so at that time, we decided by the end of 2018 to close the company, say thank you to the employees. And since then, we are working from Lebanon, serving our clients in Qatar. So we don't have any physical presence, but we are still active. Well, this is Lebanon and Qatar. Now, thanks to the Lebanese diaspora, I have projects nearly all over the world. Now I'm working on a project in New York City.
Wow.
With a client, a Lebanese client, very active there. I've done with him a very nice project in New York, executed a zinc roof. This one we will post it as well.
Okay, brilliant.
On the roof mapping. So I will send you the details. With the same client, we will have now an interesting one in New York, but mostly we work on West Africa, Nigeria, Senegal, Guinea Equatorial, Sierra Leone, etc. But also the Arab countries in Syria. In Syria, since 2011, nothing is happening. It's still in crisis. But in Jordan, in Saudi Arabia, in Dubai, in Egypt, well, a bit. But thanks to the Lebanese diaspora, who are present all over these countries, and yeah, and they used to be our clients in Lebanon. And when they opened the branch, for example, this client in Sierra Leone, he was my client for years. Then he decided to have a branch in Sierra Leone, and automatically it's a reflex. He was satisfied, happy with our service. So whenever he needs something, so he contacted me, and we continued the business as if it was for Lebanon.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference, doesn't it, when you have those relationships and they know they can trust you, and those hopefully continue on for a long time. But yeah, it takes a lot to build those up. And
concerning the roofing, so it's not anybody who can install a roof, a standing roof. He must be formed. So I took care of the instruction and teaching. So the first we say in French formation, how do you say? The first anyway, I brought a French guy from France to Lebanon, to our company, and we installed and we trained. We had the training for 3 different companies, and they started soldering the zinc, folding, making the standing seam, the roll cap, etc. So yeah, we sell the material, but we also help the roofer getting the proper knowledge, and
Yeah, that's
giving
really
them
good.
free job training. And so when a project's complete, do you send somebody out to inspect the project at the very end to make sure everything was done correctly? Or does your contractor send you back photos of the installation?
yes, they send photo. We don't. I refuse to sell material to a non-professional, not trained, because selling, making a couple of dollars of benefits and having claims and problems, and no, I rather not do that. So I rather sell especially coils. Now, if a client comes and want to buy a sheet of zinc or a sheet of copper, okay, but coils, I rather restrict selling the coils to the approved roofers.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely understandable. You have a huge family reputation on the line for as many years as you've been, plus personal. Do you have any, do you have the next generation coming in after?
Yes.
Yeah.
I already have two nephews joining us.
Wow. So that takes you, what, five, 6 generations almost now.
No, I am of the 4th generation, and my nephew's the 5th.
5th, yep. Wow. And soon it'll be 6th at some point. That's great.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
Andrew, any questions that I missed?
No, I mean, on a personal point, of just, Roy's been very good at sending lots of roofs to put on the map, and it's just really interesting to see the different styles. And I think there's even, because we had a conversation yesterday, just pre to this meeting, but there's one roof, I'm sure you sent me, there's actually I think it's a mirrored steel. It's almost like a dome, but it just, the things that they can do is just amazing. And that's, again, part of what I want to show people with roofmapping.com is what can be achieved, and to give that sort of inspiration. So actually, yeah, they are a company that can do it. So let's broaden, even if it's an architect or an architectural student thinking, actually, that's amazing, I want to replicate it, or a contractor thinking, well, I've got this coming through, where do I go for a manufacturer that can produce it? Again, it just helps people see what can be done, and by the right people as well. But yeah, it's just, and they are all over that sort of area of the world, and it's great to get them on the map.
Well, the big thing too is that the zinc type, the roofing that you're producing, is an art form in itself within standing seam roofing. You have to be very skilled at that. You have, like you said, you have the soldering. I think soldering is almost becoming a lost art today in our industry, and that is so important. But really, your roofs are almost, I hate to use the term lifetime because anything can change, but they're going to last for more than we're going to be on the roof. They're going to last for centuries if they're done correctly.
Exactly.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, I visited projects in Paris that are 160 years, so they're still perfect. The only problem, for example, with zinc, with time it becomes brittle. So if they want to install an antenna or a dish, so if they touch the zinc, it can break. But if you don't touch it, it's perfect. Copper as well. Yeah.
So I have one thing I want to ask. So I don't know if you know this about me or not, but I am a collector and a promoter of roofing industry history. So if you have older photos or older documents, please take a picture of those digitally and send them to me. I'd love to post them out and give you the credit and your company credit for it. I have a nice, matter of fact, one of the seminars that I'm doing at Western States is the history of roofing. So if you have anything, I'd love to get it out there, because I think what you're doing is, the multiple generations, the type of products you're putting out there, the quality, the insulation. I think definitely people need to know more about that history behind you, your family, and your company.
Okay, I will. There is a very interesting project, a church in the city of Zahle. So it's far from, it's in the Bekaa Valley. And I never visited it, but they sent me pictures. It was a zinc roof on the dome of the church. And they told me it must be zinc because it was done during the French mandate. So when the French were present after World War II, so in the 50s or sorry, excuse me. The French mandate, it was between the two world wars. So it was in the 30s maybe made. And it's been years. I'm planning to get there and get on the roof of this church and see it, touch it. But the pictures are not very, very nice. So, but I will do it, yeah.
Yeah, anything. We'd love to get that out there. And then, of course, for the audience, you want to learn more and see more projects, as Andrew said, go to that roofmapping.com because you're going to, and we're going to get more from what I heard now. We're going to add some more of the projects on there from Roy. And I think, you know, this is amazing. You're definitely, other than we had on Graham from Scotland, who has back to the 1000s. What was his family history back in slate roofing, but as far as definitely manufacturers go, you're right there. I've never had the opportunity to speak to a family member that's kept it in, you know, within the company like that, still family owned. So amazing accomplishment, and I'm sure you're very proud, and your family's very proud.
We are, thank you.
And Roy, if you have details of that 160-year-old roof in Paris, then that would certainly win some records on the website, because the oldest one I have so far, I think, is 50 years old.
No,
so
come on.
That was an EDPM. But yeah, if you've got some old historical records, it'd be great to get those on the map as well.
Yep.
Okay, I will get them to you. I don't have anything, but it's very, very, very common. All these boulevards done by Baron Haussmann. You know, Baron Haussmann is the urban designer who changed. I don't know. Maybe it's out of subject now, but you know, it will be short. So the king at that time appointed a guy called Baron Haussmann to redraw the urban planning of Paris.
Yeah. And
this guy decided to make boulevards, etc., and have them in straight line and different direction. In case there is a uprising or something, they can put guns and cannons and defend themselves. But the nice thing he did about that is he imposed having zinc roof on the roofs, and it's called the mansard. So if a building is, let's say, 5 floors, you have on the facade only 4 floors, and the 5th floor is entirely integrated in the roof.
Yeah,
it was a zinc.
I know Paris put forward an application. I think it was to make the roofs of Paris, or certainly the zinc roofs of Paris, a World Heritage Site. So if you've got, you know, if your company's part of that history as well, that would be great to tie in. Because the zinc roofs of Paris are very, very famous.
Okay, I will check.
Yeah, but go ahead.
Before we close out, Roy, is there anything we didn't cover or a message you'd like to get across to our audience before we close out?
No, I was so happy having you guys.
Well, it was our pleasure to have you on, that's for sure. Well, Andrew, any closing words or?
No, I think that's been wonderful. Thank you, Roy.
Thank you.
John.
Thank you so much.
And then in that end note, I want to thank our audience once again for joining us to another episode. And don't forget to check us out and pass the word around, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.